Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center, June 6, 2021. I will be speaking later, and Clint Brown and Connie Schaefer will provide us with music this morning. We are so blessed. So we'll start with a piece of music.
So for our gathering song, gather round, people gather round. Come in, take off your coat and settle down. Head in the clouds, feet on the ground. Gather round, people gather round. We gather in harmony today. Community of spirit and of heart. Leave our worries outside, come on in. We gather in harmony today. We gather in joy and love again. Community of meditative thought. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. We gather in love and joy today. Gather round, people gather round. Come in, take off your coat and settle down. Feet on the ground, head in the cloud. Gather round, good people gather round. Gather round, good people gather round.
Thank you, Clint and Connie. And it's at this time that we go into prayer by taking a breath together. Beloved presence, we celebrate coming together in order to recognize and honor our humanity and our divinity. And we support each other in that journey. And again, with gratitude, we finish this prayer. And so it is. Another piece of music.
So this song is called Blue Boat Home. What does that mean, Connie? He asks rhetorically.
We're all in the same boat, basically, by living on a blue planet. And this song is written that compares living on this planet, even though we feel no motion, we're actually traveling around the sun. Our whole solar system is moving as one around the universe, coming in contact with different constellations. So this song gives us a picture of being in a boat, but it's our houseboat, it's our home, it's a planet.
It is. And when we, if you listen to the song on YouTube on your computer, there's the iconic picture of the blue planet behind it. So this is by Peter Mayer, he's actually got this song in some hymnals. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I pine the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, breathe the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. Wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue home.
Thank you, Connie and Clint. So let's rest together in this blue boat home as we look at how unity is a faith of radical self-responsibility. I often say that I can't give a Sunday talk until I've had a Saturday, because something always happens on Saturday to affect me and influence the talk. So yesterday morning, I opened an email from a very dear friend who sent me a poem she had just discovered. And she said she was going to repeat this poem to herself every day for 2 weeks. So I want to introduce you to this poem called The Truth. And it's by Macrina Weed-Kirkare from 7 Sacred Pauses. The Truth. I will believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. I believe in my power to transform indifference into love. I believe I have an amazing gift to keep hope alive in the face of despair. I believe I have the remarkable skill of deleting bitterness from my life. I believe in my budding potential to live with a nonviolent heart. I believe in my passion to speak the truth, even when it's not popular. I believe I have the strength of will to be peace in a world of violence. I believe in my miraculous capacity for unconditional love. I will believe the truth about myself no matter how beautiful it is. I believe the truth about myself no matter how beautiful it is. The poet captures us with that sentence. I think our brain often expects that sentence to end with, I will believe the truth about myself no matter how hard it is, no matter how broken or less than it is. But it's about beauty. And I think that this is about our divinity. You know, in unity, we celebrate the fact that we are both divine and human. And to that part of us that is divine, everything is beautiful. Everything has a place in this world. I believe in my power to transform indifference into love. Matthew 21:28, 30 through 32 tells us the parable of the 2 sons. So a father goes to a son and says, I need you to go out and work in the vineyard. And the son says, no, I'm not going to do that. But he goes out later and he works in the vineyard. So the father says to his second son, I need you to go out and work in the vineyard. And the second son says, sure, Dad, of course, I'll be glad to do that. But he doesn't follow through. So Jesus is asking his disciples and scribes and Pharisees, those who are righteous, who is the best son here? Who does God love most? And the disciples said, the first son, the son who said no, but changed his mind and heart and went anyway. And so Jesus said to the scribes and Pharisees, you will not have the kingdom of heaven because you did not believe the new and beautiful story that John brought, so that tax collectors and prostitutes will get to heaven before you. And we remember that Matthew, a disciple, was a tax collector, but he changed, he transformed. He followed the new good news. And we also always have that option. Again, being human and divine, as a human, we're going to make mistakes, we're going to make tough choices, and we can take a breath, we can pause, we can access divinity and do it differently. We can go into the vineyard. A lot of people talk about that parable as the prostitute referring to Mary Magdalene, but historically, there is no evidence she was ever a prostitute. So I often want to cheer for her and clear her name because she was such a significant person in that movement. One of the things she did was bring great financial funding to Jesus's movement. So again, I believe in my power to transform indifference into love. Remember what indifference feels like. It's a really flat feeling. There's not a lot of energy in it. But if we shift that to love, remember and know now the feeling that love brings, it's expanding. So in John 3:3, Jesus says, truly, truly, I say unto you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. So what does it mean to be born again? To be born into righteousness and truth? What it means is to change our mind, to change our heart, to change our behavior, to do that again and again as often as we need to be born again as often as we need to. I believe I have an amazing gift to keep hope alive in the face of despair. In Colossians 1:27, it says, to them God has chosen to make known among the Gentiles the glorious riches of this mystery, which is Christ in you, Christ in you, Christ in me, the hope of glory. Haven't we all been faced with this dilemma in the last 17 months of keeping hope alive? It's been hard to live with hope at times in this last 17 months. And yet I think each and every one of us shifted, changed our mind and our heart and found it again, which kept us going and kept our loved ones going as we supported each other. We found hope in little things like Zoom. We found hope in little things like seeing a neighbor, like nodding at someone who was masked, and noticing by the crinkling of their eyes they were smiling at us. So we may have felt despair in this last 17 months, and it was counteracted upon by hope. Again, this ability to go from despair to hope is an interconnection of our humanity and our divinity. They both show up. They're both supposed to show up. I believe I have the remarkable skill of deleting bitterness from my life. Just think, experience for a moment. What is bitterness? You can taste it. So how do we do that? In Unity, we have a practice where we acknowledge exactly what we're experiencing. And then if it is not serving us or another, we use denial. And denial in this sense is not knowing it happened, not knowing it's going on, but to deny the power of that belief, to deny the power of that emotion we might be experiencing. And so when we deny that, we create a vacuum. And we know nature abhors a vacuum. So we then fill it up with an affirmation. And an affirmation is much like a prayer. And so those are some of the sacred sugars that we can use in order to let go and delete that bitterness. Others are gratitude and loving kindness and any form of love. I believe in my budding potential to live with a non-violent heart. There's a lot in this phrase. A divine right is to have a non-violent heart. That is what is in our divinity. Another way to look at that is a peaceful heart. We have a peaceful heart, even if in our human heart there may be a violent feeling or thought in our human mind. So again, we call on divinity to work through that. I was trained as a therapist to believe that the unconscious, which motivates much of our behavior and our beliefs, cannot understand no or non or none. So one of the ways we work with it is instead of saying a non-violent heart, which the unconscious may hear as violent, to say we have a peaceful heart. And yet I am aware I'm working with a beautiful poem, and this woman very carefully chose her words. So we will do away with our violent heart and have a non-violent heart that experiences peace. In Mark 11:24, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you have received it and it will be yours. So again, unity is a faith of radical self-responsibility. And we're touching on that here, ways we can be responsible for shifting our consciousness, because that's one of our major tasks here. That's one of our journeys here, is to continue to shift our consciousness. So belief is such a strong stance. If I believe my prayer is answered, that's like a magnet. That attracts something to me or accesses something divine within me. That's very powerful. The other thing that really strikes me about this sentence is budding potential. Budding potential. You know, we've just had maybe the shortest spring in history, but there were all these buds that just, they were closed and tight, and we knew they were going to open. We had faith and belief they would open. So budding potential to me says something about happening, and it's going to continue to happen. It's an ongoing thing. And potential is one of our big pieces of being responsible, because we have potential to access every single thing in the divine. We have potential to access every law, every principle, every power, and to utilize that. And because we are human, we may dilute those powers, laws, and principles. And that's okay. It's part of our journey. So we keep practicing, and as our consciousness gets higher and higher, we dilute those less and less and experience them more purely. And I think as a community, when we can recognize that in each other, it solidifies our trust, our hope, and our belief and faith. I believe in my passion to speak the truth, even when it isn't popular. Passion is desire. And Charles Fillmore, our founder, said, desire is the onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul. The onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul. So there's that budding potential and our journey about evolving our soul. Each of us may have different passions. Each of us may have different desires, because divinity shows up in very distinct ways in each of us. And I think what this line of the poem is suggesting is get in touch with that passion. What means so much to you? You are willing to speak the truth, even if it's not popular. Where we are willing to speak the truth, even if it causes some kind of friction between ourselves and another, therefore affording us an opportunity to work through that with them, through our divinity. Our country has been in such a divisive state. One of the things I do see is more and more people are speaking their truth. More and more people are finding each other and speaking truth from groups. And that comes from passion and love. And I believe it will make a difference. Jesus certainly stated his passions. No doubt about what he desired and what he was passionate about. So, whenever it seems right, timing to you, I encourage you to identify your passions. You know, there's so much going on. How do we support and speak up for those who love who they love, even if no one else, or even if somebody else doesn't agree with that? How do we speak up for and support all people of color who have not had their rightful place in our country? How do we speak up for those that have less and struggle? How do we speak up for our children? How do we protect them from predators and from COVID and from unnecessary suffering? So let us all find our voice and use our discernment to know when to use it. Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. 1 John 4:8. God is love. And it is through the love, the divine love within us and around us, that we know God. It is through that love that we are expressions of that God. That is such a wonderful gift, and it brings responsibility. Sometimes the responsibility is as simple as being grateful. Sometimes the responsibility includes all the things that all these lines talk about, including seeing the beauty within ourselves and the beauty of another, including finding our voice, including finding hope. All of these things are our responsibility if we're willing to take them on. And it's easiest to do that if, as a community, we can do it shoulder to shoulder and share our love and our passion with each other. And again, coming back to that human part, mistakes, fatigue, laziness, whatever. We're born again and make another choice. And we have the power of forgiveness, the power of forgiveness of ourselves and others, of letting go of the need for a different past. Letting go of a need for a different past is our forgiveness. So 1 Corinthians 16:14 says, let all that you do be done in love. Doesn't that say it all? Everything we do can be done in love. And if it doesn't happen the first time, we take a breath and we do it again. And the more we practice doing it in love, I believe our consciousness grows and the path becomes smoother and easier. So what makes unity a faith of radical self-responsibility is the recognition that we are both human and divine, and that through our divinity, we have access to everything, every aspect of God, and we are free to use it. Luke 17:21, neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. So Yeshua, Jesus, was the true vine, and we are branches of that vine. And when we work in the vineyard, we are emulating him and his works. Let us do that together. And so it is. I'm going to screen share a meditation from Unity worldwide. And I invite you to listen to it with your heart and to listen to it with your mind. And notice the language which is chosen so carefully. And the question I would put to you is, when you hear this, who is doing the doing? Who is taking action? Who is taking responsibility? So let us hear that.
This is the moment. Here is the place. We agree as we share in the experience of prayer to be attentive, connected, and centered in the power of God. All that we have on our minds and in our hearts right now, we lift up into the possibility of instantaneous transformation in this time and place of prayer. The silence is my place of peace and renewal. With my next outgoing breath, I slow down and still my thoughts. I relish this moment of deep spiritual awareness. God is peace in the midst of me, a peace deeper than thought or feeling. In the silence, I experience peace. I am renewed in spirit, in silent prayer. I am a radiating center of light and understanding. God is light in the center of me. My mind is one with divine mind. With every breath, my mind seeks and finds spiritual understanding. The light of understanding guides my way. Thoughts become productive, and the way ahead becomes clear in the light of spirit, in the silence. I am an expression of infinite life. I breathe the breath of spirit. I breathe the breath of life. Every breath supports and strengthens me, renews and refreshes me. I am one with the spirit of life, infinite and eternal. Breath by breath I heal. I live. In the silence, I claim life. I live in a world of plenty, and I have a consciousness of abundance. Breathing deeply in the awareness of God within and all around me, I settle into a conscious moment of appreciation. All that I could ever need may be found here, in divine mind brimming with divine ideas. Overflowing with gratitude, I open my mind, open my heart, and pray. I hold the world in a vision of harmony and peace. I am one with the world around me. Every man is my brother, every woman my sister. We are one in God. In a state of oneness, I imagine holding hands, embracing arms, walking together on earth. I hold this image in love with the world as I pray. In spiritual realization, we complete this time of prayer. Gratefully, we trust the truth of divine peace, understanding, life, and abundance in which all our desires are fulfilled. All that God is available to us in every breath. In gratitude, we close with the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. wherever we are, God is.
And we will welcome Clint and Connie as they provide us with another song in our closing.
So this next song is an old song from the 60s or 70s, but it still has special meaning for me, especially with this next weekend coming up. Happens to be Father's Day weekend, and I'm also planning to go to a baby shower for my daughter Anna's impending baby, which will be a first grandchild. So teach your children and teach your parents. They have been working on me for a long time.
That you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's help did slowly go by. Told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And can you of tender years you can't know that your elders grow by, and so please help them with your will. They seek the truth before they can live and teach your parents well. Their children's help will slowly go by. Feed them on your dreams, the one they fix, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh.